It's workout from home, hashtag 20, or number 20, depending on your proclivities towards symbols. It is lower body day, it's leg day here at the Four Bells Fitness Emporium. Our focus today is going to be unilateral leg work. So we're going to look at single leg squatting patterns, we're going to look at single leg hinging patterns. But before we start with our strength work today, we have a warm-up to do. Our warm-up involves 5 bootstrappers, a little squat to hamstring stretch, 3 per side of a reverse lunge with some thoracic rotation, so opening up the hips as well as the upper back. And last but not least, we are doing some body weight windmills, again trying to open up the lateral chain, the side of the body, as well as deal with some hamstring flexibility at the same time. So let's talk about how those movements should look. Unlike a bootstrapper, it gets to address squatting mobility as well as hamstring flexibility all at the same time. So all I need to do is start by hanging out in a squat. From this position, as always, I might take like the first few seconds of hanging out in a squat to see just how the body is figuring. How are the knees, how are the ankles, how are the hips? Can I keep my chest up? From there, we're gonna get into some bootstrappers. So if I can, I grab hold of my toes, hips up, straighten out those legs, and then we come back down into a squat, keeping that chest up nice and high. We straighten out the legs, straighten out the hamstrings, and then come back down into the squat. So if you know holding onto the toes is really tough for you, then you could just put your fingertips on the edge of your shoes, you could hold onto your ankles, whatever it is, find the right position for you in terms of your hamstring flexibility. But ideally, when we bring the hips up, we want to try and straighten those knees out. From here, we're going to do a reverse lunge with thoracic rotations. That means starting from standing, I step back. If my left knee is down, the left hand comes down, and I rotate up to the ceiling, looking at the fingers. From here, hands come back, feet comes up, I switch sides, right knee is down, right hand comes down, I rotate up to the ceiling, looking at the fingers the whole time. We go back and forth for 3 reps per side. When it comes to the body weight windmill, if you've done windmills with either a dumbbell or a kettlebell before, you know we have a fairly wide stance. If the top of my windmill propellers is my left hand, my feet point to the right. I'm then going to do the bump, just like we did in the disco back in the day. Looking at the fingers, I push the hip to the side, I come down, touch the fingers to the floor, and then come back up, bicep to the ear. Push the hip to the side, rotating down, I bring the hand to the floor. So if you're very flexible, it could be fingers to the floor, it could be palms to the floor, it could be knuckles to the floor, or just as low as you can do. We are doing 5 bootstrappers, 3 per side, reverse lunge with thoracic rotation, and then 5 per side of a body weight windmill. We're doing that for 3 rounds, and that's the warm-up today. The strength piece for workout number 20 is focusing on unilateral or single limb squatting and hinging patterns. So we have 5 sets. Each set is going to be 3 minutes long still, but split into 2 90-second windows of time. So I have 90 seconds to perform 5 pistols on one leg and 5 pistols on the other. And then I have the remainder of that time to rest before I get into my next 90 seconds, which is 5 single leg deadlifts on one leg, followed by 5 single leg deadlifts on the other. The idea today is when we're looking at either pistols or single leg deadlifts, is trying to work up to or find what is the issue with each of those movements. So the pistol, in my mind, is the de facto lower body movement of expression of not only strength, not only balance, not only stability, but more importantly is mobility. Can I get right down into the very bottom of that squat and try and close my ankle, knee and hip joint as much as possible whilst getting into a good squatting position. So we're going to talk about a few different options of what you can do if you have stuff at home. From there, once I've done my pistols into our single leg deadlift, for a lot of people the issue is stability. Can I stand on one leg first of all? So if you're having issues just standing on one leg, doing it without adding weight, then I'd probably say work on doing the body weight style first of all. But if you do have weights and dumbbells, kettlebells, whatever it is at home, try and find a way to load it if the balance is good. So let's talk about pistol variations. The first thing for the pistol is for a lot of people is going into the bottom end range of motion, so it's lowering ourselves down is very difficult. So for some people, decreasing the range of motion is the best way to start with it. So an easy way to do that is to have a dining room chair, a box, your stairs, whatever it is. And then from here, all I do is have the same squatting pattern I normally would if I was squatting on 2 legs, which means I'm going to focus on initiating through the hip, allow the knee to track forward, I squat down, and then from there, drive the hip forward and squeeze the glutes at the top. If that's easy, then all we have to do, of course, is bring our box down to a lower setting, find a lower box, find a lower step. From there, if we don't have a box available, you might have, then maybe it could be rings or a TRX, where I'm going to use my distance away from the leverage arm to make it more challenging. So I could hold on with a ring just by using one. From there, if I want to, I'm then going to descend down into my squat, using the arms just as little as possible to make sure that I can get down into this deep squatting position. What I find a lot when people get into using straps is that they'll sit way back. Can you see how vertical the shin is? You wouldn't squat normally with a vertical shin like that, so we need to make sure that shin is forward, still keeping the heel down and getting those joints as closed as possible. And then use those arms to help you stand up. If boxes, TRXs, rings are not available to you, I guarantee everyone has a door at home. So even if you have a door at home, this door does not have a handle, but it does have this nice little ridge here, so I can still use this. All I need to think of is that I'm just going to hold on tight. If there was a door handle here, I would death grip onto the door handle, of course without tearing it off, don't ruin your home. I'm going to set myself up, maybe my foot is approximately a foot's length away from the door, and all I'm going to do is pistol squat down, get to that bottom position, and then use the door a little bit to help me stand up. So there's a few other pistol variations you can play around with, depending on what you have available at home. Single leg deadlifting is very similar to Romanian deadlifting, but just on one leg. What does that mean? That means we set the feet up, roughly about hip width. From here, I'm going to learn to, in a true hinging pattern, so different to a conventional deadlift where I bring the hips back and then down. In that Romanian deadlift position, all I'm looking to do is just push the hip back. So the analogy we use in the gym a lot is, you've got your hands full of groceries and you have to close the car door. Boop is the official noise of the Romanian deadlift. You're just trying to push those hips back. So that means the emphasis is load the hamstring, load the glutes, while keeping a nice neutral and safe spine. So of course, if I can do that Romanian deadlift positioning, then the next step is, can I do it on one leg? But as of course I've said before, for a lot of people, balance and stability with the ankle is the biggest factor. So if I can, I like to think as 2 ropes pulling me in different directions. One rope is at my butt, pulling my butt back. Another one is a rope at my chest, pulling my chest forwards. I'm going to push the hip back, allow the chest to come down, and from there I drive the hip forward and squeeze the glute on the standing leg. Push the hip back, and then drive the hip forwards. In an ideal world, we're fantastic at single leg deadlifts, and we can add some weight to the situation. For me personally, I like 2 dumbbells. Makes me feel like my shoulder girdle is nice and balanced, my upper back is nice and balanced, and that's how I prefer to do Romanian deadlifts. I don't mind a barbell, and you can use a barbell if you have one, but I personally prefer 2 dumbbells. But if you don't have 2 dumbbells available, then you might just have 1 kettlebell or 1 dumbbell available, which means I would hold it on the transverse side or the opposite side. So if I'm standing on my right leg, I hold the dumbbell in my left hand. I'm then going to hinge backwards, load the hip, load the glute, and then drive the hips forwards. We are doing 5 per side of our single leg deadlift, and if we can, try and get it a little bit heavier. Conditioning piece number 20. We have got 2 6-minute AMRAPs with a 2-minute rest in between those AMRAPs. Joyous, delicious rest. What does an AMRAP mean? If you don't already know, it stands for as many rounds or as many reps as possible. Kind of interchangeable, those terms. So that means we've got 6 minutes of a couplet of movements, 2-minute rest, and another 6 minutes of a couplet of movements. We're going back and forth between those movements. So in my first 6-minute AMRAP, I am doing frog hops for 10 reps, followed by ball slams for 10 reps. We're going to talk about some options of how to do those movements and what to do if you don't have a ball available to slam. Once I've spent 6 minutes going backwards and forwards between frog hops and ball slams, I've taken my 2-minute rest. I come into my second 6-minute AMRAP, which is going to be 5 per leg, 10 total of a reverse lunge. We'll talk about options of what you have available. And then if we have a kettlebell swing, into 15 kettlebells to swing, if that's possible. Not 15 separate kettlebells, 15 individual reps, but not individual, as a collective, as a set. That makes more sense. From there, let's talk about what we're up to today. We have our first 6-minute AMRAP, frog hops and ball slams. So, first of all, a frog hop. What is a frog hop? Well, it's not a full squat jump. In a full squat jump, I would squat all the way down into a deep squat and then jump up as high as possible. In a frog hop, what I'm looking to do is it feels very like 80s aerobics, so I like to put the hands on the hips so my arms aren't doing anything weird. And what I'm going to do is push my hips back, thighs to about 45 degrees, and then I jump up nice and high, absorb that force, and jump higher repeatedly. But I'm only going to about 45 degrees with the thigh. I'm not going all the way down into the squat. As soon as my 10 frog hops are done, I then grab the ball. As always with a ball slam, what I'm looking for is extended hip, open shoulder, and then as I slam the ball down, it should be closed shoulder, closed hip. But most importantly is not sacrificing the spine. We keep the chest up. So if I can, overhead. That's our first 6-minute piece. 10 frog hops, 10 ball slams. That's what we're doing back and forth for 6 minutes. So from there, I take 2 minutes rest. I'm then going to come into my second 6-minute AMRAP, which will be, it says on the board, kettlebell reverse lunges. So if lunges feel good for you, you have a kettlebell to hold on to, or any weight to hold on to, then what you can do is hold it against your chest, goblet style. I'm just going to step back, touch the knee to the floor for 10 total reps. Once my 10 reps of lunges are done, I then come into a kettlebell swing, so pushing the hips back, loading the hamstring, loading the glute. It's going to be 10 lunges into 15 kettlebell swings. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't have a kettlebell to swing, excuse me, what I'm looking for is a violent hip extension again. So it could be 15 squat jumps, and that would be a very spicy finish to the workout. So have a think about what you can do, have a think about what you have available. 2 6-minute AMRAPs, 2-minute rest in between, and that is the condition piece.